to C, remove duplicates, and then comment on how many were removed. Okay, now D is the replacement node to replace unusual observations. Okay, so we do that using modify replacement. Now connect. Now replacement editor, okay, there are two of them. Okay, one for interval variables and then one for class variables. Now for interval variables, okay, so you can set up a default limits method, okay, and then set up user defined or the default method in the replacement editor. So I'm going to set this to none, or we can say user defined. If you say user defined here, user specified limits, then that's what will be used as default method. Okay, or if you say none here, so the default is none, nothing will happen, right? So now you go into that editor, that's your interval variables editor. So here you need to set up limits. Okay, so how do you know what limits to set? Okay. And for that you need to generate summary. Okay, so now for each of the interval variables you have a summary here, and if you click statistics you'll also get some additional statistics, so like minimum, maximum, mean, and so on. So if you look at age, you see the minimum is 23, maximum is 67 years. It looks like that's a kind of reasonable set of values, so you really don't need to do anything with age. Now CCAVG, what is CCAVG? CCAVG is average spending on credit cards per month, and it is coded in $1,000. Okay, so let's look at CCAVG, and you see that most of the values are around here, and then there are some which are way high. So like if you look at the minimum and the maximum, see CC average minimum is 0, so that's reasonable. Now maximum is 667. That seems waste. Normal people don't spend $667,000 in credit card on average per month. So we need to set up. Okay, so now we need to set the limits. So you don't need any lower limit because 0 is good. So upper limit is what you want to set. So you can use the slider to bring it down, all right? And then you can say apply filter. So now that will apply the filter. Here it looks like the lower filter says minus 0.187. So check that to 0. All right. Now the upper limit. Okay, so the slider takes you to 12.3, so that is $12,000 a month, which itself is kind of high. So well, let's say that we make it like 10 or something. All right, so you want anything from 0 to 10,000 to be left alone, right? 0 to 10. The rest of it, okay, you want, how do you want that to be replaced? So anything below 0, okay, you want the replacement value to be 0. So anything below 0 will be recoded as 0, and anything above 10, okay, I'm going to say 10. Okay, you can make it missing, or there are other possibilities. So let's say that we just recode it as 10. Okay, so that's that. Then see, the limit method should be changed to user specified. Remember, default is none. We set up default to be none. So if you just leave this as default, nothing will happen. So you have to change that to user specified. And experience, Okay, let's look at experience now. Experience, again, you have a minimum of -3, so you can't have a negative value, so let's make that 0, and the maximum is 300, so 300, that's really, nobody has 300 years of experience, so not even 100. This again is kind of too high, so let's bring it down and apply the filter. Alright, so let's now make this into a kind of a round number. Say 40 would be a good number, 40 years. So anything over 40, you want that to be coded as 40. Again, remember, you don't have to recode it as 40. Anything over 40, you can say replacement value is missing. Now, income, we have a minimum of 8 and a maximum of $224,000. So that seems reasonable. Okay. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Mortgage, so we have a -1 for mortgage. Again, that's not possible normally. And maximum is 635. So mortgage of $635,000, that seems reasonable. So here the replacement value is set to 0. Okay. So now that should be changed to user specified. Alright, so now we are all set. Okay, so now we have to do class variable also, but before we get to class variable, let's run this and then see what has happened. Okay, I'm going to click OK and then look at the exported data. So that's what's going out. What's going out of the node. So here I'm going to explore. Alright, so now let's look at the sample statistics. That will tell us what has happened. Okay, let's expand the variable name, and you see that we have 3 variables: CC average, experience, and mortgage, with an REP stuck in front of it. So remember, SAS Enterprise Miner does not change any of the original data. Any modification we do, it creates a new column and does the modification in the new column. So now the old CC average, okay, so it has 0 through 667. The new one is 0 to 10. So it's recoded anything about 10 to 10. And same experience, remember there was some really large experience numbers, like 300, that's changed to 40. And then mortgage, where there is a -1 as a minimum value, so 0. So this is how you check whether the replacement editor has worked properly or not. If you see that something is wrong, then you have to go back and see what the problem is and correct it.